What's up, everybody? John Eric Poli here with my MMA News, and today's guest will be fighting Josh Fremd at UFC Vegas 62 on October 29th. Pleased today to be joined by Tresean Gore. Tresean, thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate the time. It's nice speaking with you here. We have a lot to talk about today, so thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem at all. So let's start here. Before we even get into this fight, I want to talk about your career here just for a second. So when you came in the UFC, you were only 3 and 0. That is very, very rare, and it's something that's difficult for a fighter to do. And just to put into perspective for people that are out there that are watching this interview that might not be too familiar, like when you see these like Dana White Contender Series fights, a lot of those guys on that show have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fights before they even get signed into the UFC. You're doing it, right? When you got signed 3 and 0, it's difficult to do. You're kind of learning on the job a little bit. Just talk about that and kind of what are some of those maybe some difficulties for a guy in your situation where you've had only, 5 fights now, but 2 of them have been in the world's biggest promotion.
Well, actually, four of them have been in the biggest promotion because
Okay, 4.
I dominated my two fights on the Ultimate Fighter. They counted one of my fights on the Ultimate Fighter. They didn't count the other, but man, it's been hard. It's been difficult. It's been a difficult year for me. The first fight I had with with Brian, I went in there and I was looking for the knockout. After knocking out Gilbert, I kind of fell in love with finding that knockout shot. And in my last fight, I went in there and was over anxious, overthrowing things, leaving myself open. So I'm definitely learning on the job. I feel like I haven't took such severe losses that have took me off the game or out of the game. I think it's just made me hungrier and made me work harder for my goals.
And now, as you talk about those, right, being hungrier, working towards your goals, a little bit of a change up here for this camp, right? You're at Fortis MMA now out in Dallas, Texas. Talk about that too, your decision to change up and go there. Obviously, you're away from the family. Family's back in South Carolina. So just talk about that decision a little bit.
I just decided to come here because, for one, my boy Naja Boy Kennedy invited me. Kennedy Nzechukwu. I think that's how you say his name. He invited me here. He's like a big brother to me now. He saw that my last fight, I didn't really have a corner like that. I had my strength and conditioning coach and one of my sponsors in there. Because Douglas was fighting 2 weeks after me, and Diego is a preacher now because he retired from the UFC, so he had to go preach. They kind of left me in a situation where I didn't really have a corner. I didn't really have a solid game plan in my last fight, and I didn't have a solid game plan for Brian Battle. Um, so I felt like I needed more organization, and that's why I came to Fortis MMA with Coach Safe and Kennedy and like a lot of and Jeff Neal and a lot of young great fighters coming in up out of here. That's why I made that change up because I needed more organization. I needed I needed to break down my guys how they're breaking down me.
And I was going to say, right, Fortis is a great gym. They've had a lot of high level fighters throughout the years here, a lot of guys on the UFC roster down there. How's this transition now to Fortis help you to, grow and evolve as a fighter with all the great looks you're getting in the gym every day?
I feel way better than my last fight. Like way better than my last fight, the fight before. I think this is the sharpest I've been in any camp as a professional. Um, I feel like this is just. I feel like this is the sharpest I've been apart from when I fought Gilbert Urbina and when I fought Ryder. I feel I feel sharper than that. I feel a lot more alert than what I was in my last fight and the fight before last. I just feel like a different animal because I've been having animals on me every day, going hard with me. I haven't really took any days off much besides this weekend. I took like 2, 3 days off because my body needed it. But other than that, I feel a lot better for this fight coming up.
And I'm going to say, right, let's just kind of touch on that a little bit more. I wanted to ask you about your training camp. Obviously, I'm sure the obvious question is going to be that camp's been amazing based on the way you're talking about the gym there. Just how's your training camp been?
It's been good, man. I'm just focused on my weight at this point and just making sure I don't have to have a hell of a hard weight cut like I did last time. Everything seems to be going according to plan, according to my nutritionist. So I've been working with a nutritionist for this camp. Um, I've been trying to listen to everything he tells me to do, but it's difficult since I never have done it before. But I'm doing it. And shit, man, camp is going good. Camp is going pretty good.
So what's the hardest part there? You said, right, working with a nutritionist, you never did it before. Is there certain days you're like, man, I could really go for this one certain food, and like, no, you're not allowed to have it? Is that the hard part about it?
Nah, it's just hard, like getting the all the perfect amount of carbs and proteins that he wants me to get daily, and just keeping and writing down everything I eat. Like I don't usually do that. I just usually eat, and like just having somebody own me in general about weight is more difficult because I've never had anybody own me about it. So I just didn't want to have a hard weight cut like my last fight. And going on track. I'm the weight I was the week of my last fight right now. So I mean, that's pretty good, I guess. But I want to get it lower than that.
Yeah, and it's great whenever you fighters do get the opportunity to work with nutritionists too. I know a lot of great nutritionists out there that are doing a lot of great things in the sport. But anyway, let's get back into the specifics of this fight here. I want to ask about your opponent a little bit now, and Josh, and what you've kind of seen out of him so far as you've been preparing for him.
I think he's a tough guy. I think he likes to come forward, push the pace. Um, I mean I feel like I'm a problem matchup for him because I do the same thing. Um, but like when we get in there, it's gonna show. It's gonna show. I feel like I'm the better fighter. Um, I have done my research on him, and I see the things he likes to do, and I like the same way they're breaking me down and looking at film. I see stuff too. I see my openings too. So it's just going there and making him pay off his mistakes. And I feel like they're gonna try to wrestle me. I just got a feeling. If so, let's go. If they don't try to wrestle me, I'm gonna be prepared for the stand up this time too. My last fight, I went in there just looking at the guy as a grappler. I didn't really like look at him like I wasn't really like worried about him landing on me like he did. Which is why I got caught. I made that mistake of like sleeping on one of my opponent's attributes, and like like I said, I just looked at him as a grappler. I thought he was gonna grapple me all night, which he did try to do in the beginning, and I thought like I mean, I'm not gonna say I feel like I saw defeat in his eyes after he couldn't take me down. He backed up against the cage, was in a slouch position, was super tired and wore out. But that's when a man is at their most dangerous. That's when the animal is at their most dangerous when they're backed up against a wall. So me, I should have used more intelligence in that fight. I shouldn't have thrown the same technique 3, 4, 5 times in a row, and it got me caught. You can't show your cards 3, 4 times and expect nobody not to take advantage of it. So I learned a lesson. I got better. I learned, and that's just all I could do is just grow as a fighter from here.
And I was just saying, I'm sure a lot of that plays into how we open things up by talking about you being very young in your career and already being at this big stage. And there are those types of lessons. And I know a lot of other fighters that I've talked with in the past have said the same thing when they're young in their careers and they're kind of starting on the job in the UFC. You kind of sometimes have to take those lessons, and it makes you better in the long run. And I can already tell by the way you're answering these types of questions and things that you're saying that you are a lot more confident, a lot more prepared than you've ever been in the past. And with all that being said, how do you envision this fight playing out when it's all said and done here on fight night?
You know how I fight. I want to knock him out. I want to knock out everybody I fight. That's always a goal of mine. But if it goes to decision, or if it goes, if it goes to decision, I also want to just have a dominant decision. Unanimous decision, or like ideally, I want to knock him out. If I could like get my hand around his neck and choke him out, I'll be happy with that too. But either way, I want to finish, but I'm not gonna go in there trying to force a finish. I just want to go win. That's my only thing right now. I just want to go win this fight. I'm gonna win this fight, and the only thing that it is too is to go in there and do what I'm saying I'm gonna do, and I'm going to. So I just feel like they're studying film, watching me in my last fight. They think I'm gonna just fight the same way, and I'm just not gonna do that. I made my adjustments in camp. I'm smarter now, and I'm just ready to go in there and show how much smarter I am. Hell, I'm ready to show myself how much smarter I am. I failed myself twice this year. It didn't go my way, and it's been tough. It's been a tough year for me. But I mean, maybe this is God's way of like putting me under the radar, so he can so he can get the glory whenever I do rise again.
And I am going to ask you about your love for God and faith in a moment here. I do want to start here, though, from an outside of the cage angle here. I want to ask you about first. You are a family man. I see all the posts on your social media with your wife and your kid, and I can just tell you're very happy with things outside of the cage. Just talk about that, what it's like being a father and a husband, and being a father and a full time trainer like that, and a full time fighter, and just everything kind of goes in all that. It's a lot to balance, but I can tell that you absolutely love life, and that everything seems to be great in that aspect of it.
I love my family, my wife, and my son. I mean, that's what made things harder with those losses I took, because the two guys I lost to are in similar positions to me. You know, he's married with a wife, with a son. Cody, he's married with a I think a wife and a daughter. So it's like I felt like God favored them over me in a way. Like I was questioning him for a while, trying to figure out what I did wrong and like why did I lose, and then I realized that I just needed to humble myself a little bit, and I just realized that titles don't just grow on trees. I can't just walk out there and step all over everybody and just do that like I wanted to. I had to learn some lessons, but I feel like this is my time now to go do what I've been envisioning my whole entire life, and that's been champion of the world. Um, but yeah, my son and my wife are my everything. Like I said, I just want to go out there and provide for them the way I'm supposed to, and just be the best I could possibly be for my family, and then go stick a pole in the water and catch some fish after I win. That's all I want to do. I just bought a new pole recently at that Pin Battle Spin Fisher 6. I want to hopefully y'all give me a shot one day. Uh, freaking hopefully Bass Pro Shop and Pin Battle Reels give me a sponsorship or something one day. But shoot, other than that,
Like I said, I know you live close to the ocean there, and you're in South Carolina. What do you get? Is that something you like to do out? It's like a hobby, or is going out and fishing out in the deep sea there?
I don't really go deep sea fishing much. I
Okay.
go outdoor fishing for like striped bass, redfish, flounder, catfish, um, stuff like that. I really love catching striped bass. I really love catching red drum, black drum. I love catching doormat flounders. I like doing stuff like that. That's really really fun to me. If I'm really bored, I go put a trick worm on the pole and try to get a bass or something. But like I don't really. That's my biggest hobby outside of fighting is fishing and also motivating people. I love being a motivator, but I haven't really motivated many people this year because hell, I'm trying to be motivated myself to go in there and be the best version of myself.
I say let's stick with this motivation thing here now for a second, because I wanted to ask you about religion here, and I know that you're definitely probably motivating people in the world of faith, because everything that you post is so faith driven. You have such a love for God, and you've kind of mentioned that several times now throughout the interview here. So let's get into that now. Just talk about your faith and your love for God, and kind of how you've gotten into that. Is that something like you were raised with, or is that something you kind of developed over time? How did you become such a man of faith the way how you are?
My grandmother, my great grandmother passed away. She taught me about Jesus. She taught me that whenever I'm at my lowest, whenever I feel don't have anything, to just call on the name of Jesus. And just say it with passion and say it with my heart. And I walked my own path for a couple of years, but I ended up getting closer to God the older I got. And I just realized that I feel like He's the one that put me on the path to being the best in this sport, and I feel like He's the one that put it in my heart to go do that. I mean, because I really come from nothing. My parents both struggle with drug addictions and drug problems and stuff. And I feel like I feel like being great didn't just pop up out of thin air. You know, I feel like it didn't. The universe didn't just random. I don't feel like it was the universe that did it. I feel like it was God's grace that made me have a fascination with with gloves and have a fascination with like shadow boxing when I didn't know how to shadow box as a kid. I feel like he gave me this fascination of wanting to be the best. I really do, and for me to fail in my last fights made me question him. But I'm not obviously I'm not questioning him right now because I'm back where I need to be. I'm still in the UFC. I'm not gonna leave the UFC. I took my lesson, I'm learning my lessons, and I feel like this fight right here is gonna show that I belong on the top. I belong on the top. I belong to be champion one day, and I just gotta go in there and make it happen. I gotta show that.
And one other faith question for you. I did see, I believe it was on your Instagram, you had the verse, it was Luke 14:11, if I wrote that down correctly from your Instagram bio there. What is it about that Bible message that you like, and what exactly does it mean?
Well, I changed myself, man. I humbled myself. You know, I have future pound for pound up there, and of course, in my heart of hearts, I still believe that. And one thing old people always told me is don't tell everybody your vision because you know everybody ain't gonna believe it like you will. You know, nobody gonna believe your goals like you will because it wasn't given to them; it was given to you. So one thing I realized is I can't force everybody to believe in me, and another thing I realized is I had to humble myself. The Bible, that verse talks about if you exalt yourself, you will be humbled, but if you humble yourself, you will be exalted. And I feel like I needed to humble myself in order to get where I'm trying to get. You know, I can't sit here and exalt myself like I'm God or like I'm somebody that's untouchable. When really the truth is I'm a man. But I do believe with the Lord that I serve with with uh with Jesus, the man that I serve, I believe that everything and all things are possible. And I believe I will be one of the pound for pound kings in this sport one day. But I have to go through these dark days where I lost and where you know people are sleeping on me and the eyes aren't on me. But I believe the eyes are gonna be back on me after this fight. But yeah, Luke 14 verse 11 talks about if you humble yourself, you will be exalted. But if you exalt yourself, you'll be humble. And if you look at every great champion in the past that's exalted themselves and like acted like their crap don't stink, McGregor, Muhammad Ali, um, even Anderson Silva at one point thought he was untouchable until he got hit by Weidman. You know, like I feel like I feel like that humbling process is part of being great. You know, like sometimes we get so over lavish and so big headed. Like I mean, my debut when I fought Ryan Battle, I was walking out putting an imaginary belt on my waist because in my heart of hearts, I believed the goal of what I was going out there, and I still do. That I'm gonna be champion one day. I'm not gonna just win one, but multiple, and that's been my goal since getting here. Um, so that's why I switched up environments and came to Fortis MMA. A guy that's used to breeding UFC fighters, a guy that's used to breeding people that have similar goals to me. So yes, I do believe that that's where I put that verse. I just changed that verse probably like a month ago, and this is all about humbling myself, man. It's all about humbling myself. You know, I can't do this without God. I can't go win like I want to win without Him. I can't go and be the man that I want to be to my to my son and to my wife without God. You know, so I feel like it was all about humbling myself and putting Jesus on the platform where he deserves to be on the top of my life.
And that's a great message, and I really, love that answer. That talk about the humbling experiences of God and everything. Like I said, it's a real powerful message. I know you're motivating people, definitely with your faith. That's for sure. There, and it's been a great conversation today, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for doing this. Just your one last thing before we head out today. Go ahead and plug your social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management or sponsors or anybody like that you got to give shout outs to? Floor is yours. Take it away.
I would like to thank Night Rider Coffee. We're gonna actually talk a little later today about some sponsorship things. I would like to thank one of my day one sponsors, Triad Mechanical, Baxter Carbine. He's one of the best heating and air companies in the Southeast. I want to thank Ferguson Law Firm, Jason Ferguson. He's one of the best lawyers in the whole entire game. I kid you not. Barber Orthopedics, also one of the, like, I'm literally sponsored by some of the best people in the Southeast. Barber Orthopedics own multiple clinics around Georgia and around the Southeast. They definitely have been helping me get along the way. Garden Go Mouthpiece. I want to thank Garden Go Mouthpieces for my new custom mouth guards they've been giving me. And did I leave anybody out? I want to thank Bully X Kennels for helping me to, get into the dog game. And go follow EOTP Bully Kennels, Eyes on the Prize Bully Kennels on Instagram. I just started a kennel with exotic Frenchies and exotic XL bullies. And I have two beautiful female Frenchies. One of them is a fluffy carrier, so I plan on having puppies with them soon and selling them. So go follow me on EOTP Bully Kennels. And that's really it, man. I lastly, but definitely not least, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for being with me through the way, for helping me to have hope even while, my parents were doing the things they were doing. I thank him for giving me hope and giving me peace in the midst of every storm of my life. And I thank him for this victory that I'm about to have October 29th.
All right, Tresean, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate the time. It was a nice conversation, covered a lot of ground there. So just want to, again, just thank you so much for being so accommodating and making the time for this interview. I also want to thank everyone that watched today's interview. Please, if you liked it, make sure to go to the bottom, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and keep your eyes out for My MMA News. We have great stuff that comes out every single day of the week, so make sure you guys keep an eye on the website. Also, go to our social media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give us a like and a follow on there as well. We'll see you later, everybody.